Welcome back to another video, y'all. This is Radiology number 44. And before I kind of go anywhere, I know last video made some promises saying I'd kind of go into the case study after that previous video, but I kind of want to finish off with one more spiel before I kind of present that to you guys. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about my experience in the kind of the post-op room and explain how the recovery process takes place. But I also want to go more into emotional aspect of it and kind of the different procedures I've kind of been seeing going on. So yeah, feel free to ignore this slide over here because it doesn't really pertain to what we're going to be talking about, but if you're interested in my previous videos, it's definitely going to be helpful. Now, I kind of want to begin by kind of just re-explaining it to you, the process. So what happens as soon as surgery is kind of done, they go to anesthesiology. Anesthesiologist does like a final checkup on them, and they come up over down here, right, in the post-op room. It's not really a room, it's more of an area with like subdivisions made by curtains. And from there, there's two options. Either the patient goes back to their floor in the hospital or they get discharged after they go through the second phase in recovery. And that second phase in recovery, it kind of includes more monitoring, but kind of also making sure that they're not on any medicines or any IV medications, and they're kind of like working on getting them out of those and oxygen and all that. So they kind of in that second phase, they give more food, they give more water, kind of make sure everything's okay and that you have rights to go home and all that good stuff. But kind of like what I've been saying, the different patients are obviously going to be very varying demographics. So I've seen children who come back from surgeries. I've seen very adults who come back. There's also been people with amputees. There have been um, There's also been this robotic surgeries. That's been kind of cool to kind of see, and kind of exploring all these different like surgeries and understanding their context, the patient's context for why they had it, and kind of witnessing the anesthesiologist come in frequently, kind of check in with the medications and consultations. It's kind of cool to kind of see that like special type of connection regarding discharge, like making sure the patient's okay after a surgery. Because ultimately it's something that the patient has to kind of agree to a bunch of risks and everything, and they know there's like complications that can happen from surgery. And when patients kind of wake up from surgery, the first thing they see is pretty much you. Like you're going to be standing in front of them, kind of helping them recover. And it's kind of amazing to see some of them wake up, remember everything, be clear, ask how the surgery went, and they're like really thoroughly excited that everything's going well for them. And they're ready to kind of move on past the hospital and go back into their daily lives. So it's fun to kind of witness. It's like a new exciting chapter that's going to happen in their lives. But at the same time, there's also like kind of like a negative part of post surgery because sometimes it doesn't always happen in their favor. There's obviously complications in surgery, and there could be limitations of what the surgeon actually decides to do when he actually is, inside the body and all that. So it also has that other end where the patient's frustrated or they just feel depressed, because they've undergone all this days of work and x-rays and all this, and it comes down to the core root problem still not being fixed, and so they have to go back to the hospital floor and they have to keep continuing to stay essentially while they just want to get out. So it kind of presents that interesting duality, which I find personally interesting, and kind of combined with the varying demographics, like I said, encountering a child after surgery is much very different than a senior. So it's kind of interesting to like see those visible changes and kind of understand the situation. There was one patient who had a degenerative bone condition, and he had to get a total hip surgery, which is crazy. And he was pretty young, I'll say that. Um, he was visibly shaken after he woke up. He was crying with pain. We had to sedate him. Yeah, I mean, and I believe he got transferred to a more critical care setting because he needed a lot more pain medications, a lot more intensive care than we were offering him. So this is like certain perspective that I kind of wanted to express that not everything is always good, and it's a lot more than kind of just like watching their vitals. It's more about also monitoring their charts, their heart rhythms, making sure that blood is flowing properly through use of a Doppler gun and all that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy listening to me rant on today. And next video for sure will be the case study. Bye bye. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.